The city was quiet, as though holding its breath, the streets barely lit by flickering lamps. He walked the familiar path, his thoughts wandering aimlessly, when an unexpected sensation crept over him, a prickling on the back of his neck, a feeling of being watched. He stopped in his tracks, scanning the empty street, but saw nothing, just the usual dark alleyway, shadowed by the towering buildings. And then he saw her. She stood in the distance, motionless, as if she had appeared out of thin air. At first glance, she might have been mistaken for another passerby, a woman lost in thought. But something was different. Her figure was too tall, too composed, too perfect. Her eyes, glowing like two pools of liquid blue fire, locked onto him with a stare that felt like a challenge. The hairs on his neck stood on end. "Leave," she said, her voice a sharp, cold command that seemed to echo off the alley walls, carrying a weight that should have crushed him with fear. He didn't flinch. Instead, his heart hammered in his chest, not from fear, but from an undeniable sense of urgency. Something about her presence was magnetic. "I'm not going anywhere," he responded, his voice steady, defiant. A slight movement, almost imperceptible, passed through her. She studied him with an intensity that made the world around them feel smaller, like they were the only two people left in the universe. Her lips curled into a smirk, something dark and dangerous flickering in her eyes. "I'm not like you," she said quietly. "You should fear me." He couldn't explain it, but he didn't. His feet stayed planted, rooted in place, as his mind raced. She wasn't just a person, she was something else, something otherworldly. The alien aura around her radiated power, but there was something more, something hidden beneath the surface. He could feel it, that unspoken tension. It wasn't fear, it was curiosity, without another word. She turned and melted into the darkness, her figure vanishing as quickly as it had appeared. He stood there for a long time, the weight of her words hanging in the air, unanswered. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from over. The next night, he found himself walking that same path again, drawn to the alley by some invisible force. He didn't know why, but the pull to return was too strong to ignore. And just as before, she appeared. This time, her presence was less of a command and more of an invitation. She watched him from the shadows, her eyes never leaving him. The glow of her gaze felt like it cut straight through him, laying bare all his defenses. "You came back," she said, her voice softer now, a note of curiosity threading through her tone. "I never left," he replied, his words coming out before he could think about them. There was something about her that made him feel like he had no choice but to be completely honest. She tilted her head, her gaze shifting slightly. "Why didn't you run?" she asked. There was a hint of genuine bewilderment in her voice, as if she couldn't fathom why someone would willingly stand their ground against her. "Why should I?" he said, taking a cautious step toward her, his heart beating faster now, not from fear, but from something else, something he couldn't name. For a long moment, she simply stood there, as if weighing him with her gaze. Finally, she spoke again, her voice almost uncertain. "You don't understand what I am, what I can do. You're not what I thought," he replied. "You don't scare me." Her eyes widened ever so slightly at his response, and for the first time, he saw a flicker of something in her vulnerability. Confusion. Her facade, once so carefully maintained, seemed to crack, just a little. But before he could process it, she spoke again, her voice a bit softer, almost hesitant. "You should be afraid," she murmured, stepping closer. "But you're not." His heart thudded in his chest. He wasn't sure why, but he took a step toward her, drawn in by something he couldn't explain. "Why?" he asked, almost breathless. She blinked, looking away for a moment, as if searching for the right words. "Because I don't know how to feel anymore," she confessed. I was sent here to push you away, to scare you. But you're different. His pulse quickened, a strange sense of understanding flooding his chest. And now, her gaze returned to him, her eyes searching his face, as though trying to read something in him. And now, I don't know, she said, her voice faltering. I never expected this. I didn't expect to feel this way about you. The air between them seemed to crackle with unspoken tension. His eyes locked onto hers, and in that moment, everything else faded away. The fear, the confusion, the weight of her mission, it all vanished, and for the first time, there was only the space between them. She wasn't a threat anymore. She wasn't a soldier carrying out a mission. She was just her, and he was just him. I'm not going anywhere, he said softly, as if daring her to believe him. The words hung in the air, a promise they both knew couldn't be easily kept. But there they were, together. In that strange, fragile moment, over the next few days, their encounters became more than just moments of tension. They became moments of connection. At first, they spoke little, but when they did, the words were heavy, laden with meaning. She began to open up about her mission, about her people, about the forces that had sent her here. But the more she shared, the more confused she became. She had been trained to view humans as inferior, as creatures to be controlled. But something about him, the way he stood his ground, the way he looked at her, was breaking down those beliefs. One small crack at a time. One evening, as they sat side by side, the silence between them grew comfortable, no longer charged with tension. Why are you really here? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. She looked at him, her eyes flickering with something he couldn't quite decipher. I was sent here to stop you, she said, to keep you from discovering the truth. And what's the truth? He asked. Heart racing. She hesitated. Then, in a voice that trembled with uncertainty, she spoke. The truth is, I wasn't supposed to feel anything for you. But now, I do, and that changes everything. The words hung between them, heavy with the weight of their shared understanding. She had chosen him, but that choice came with consequences. The forces she had once obeyed her people. Her mission would never accept it. They would never accept him. I can't leave you, she whispered one night, her voice strained with the conflict within her. But I have to. He took her hand, the warmth of her touch grounding him. Then don't leave. Stay with me. The world outside continued to spin, but in that moment, nothing else mattered. She wasn't just an alien sent to destroy him. She was more than that. She was someone who had been lost, someone searching for answers, and somehow he had become part of that answer. And no matter the cost, no matter the danger, he would fight for her. And as they stood there, side by side, the uncertainty of the future looming before them, they both knew that, whatever happened next, they would face it together. Because sometimes, love doesn't follow the rules. It doesn't follow orders. It just is.